Wow. I'm going to tell you what I did. So each time I would raise my right hand, and I was like, why am I not getting picked? I know I'm supposed to get picked. So then it came to me, well, raise your left hand. Change it up. And I did. And you picked me.
So, what did he really do?
I got in the receptive mode.
What did he really do? He changed his expectation. You gave yourself permission to expect differently because you offered a different action. But we didn't notice which hand was up.
But you felt the change of my expectation.
There was a shift. Yeah. There was a shift in your expectation. Expectation is a wonderful concept because expectation is the marriage between desire and belief. In fact, we could say you get what you expect. It's accurate to say you get what you believe, but it's more poignant to say you get what you expect. So if you want something and you don't expect it, it doesn't come about. But that's why after you've had the experience, quite often somebody who's sat in this hot seat before can come again and again and again and again and again because they just expect to be there. They know they're going to have a good dialogue and they just expect to be there. And so their expectation equals their point of attraction. You think Abraham is choosing you. You're choosing you. You're choosing you. You're choosing you. We're just the cooperative component. It's the way it is with everything. Everything is that way. There's nothing that is arbitrarily or in some sort of control dictating what happens in your life experience. It's only you. You choose it all. But a lot of times you're not choosing it deliberately. That's why we're talking about these tools that you can use so that you can choose in ways that are more satisfying to you. So what did you want to talk to us about?
Along those lines of expectation, because I believe that too. I believe that nothing ever comes out of the blue, but it has come from you. And I've learned that from you, that I'm learning to pay attention to what's coming into my experience. And I'm learning that it is...
And making the correlation between what is coming and how I've been feeling about it. Because there's such a meaningful correlation between those two.
Sometimes, though, it's challenging. It's challenging to make the correlation.
Because it's coming too fast or because you're not paying attention?
I don't know.
Well, it's both. You're not paying attention because it's coming too fast, or you're out of focus. In other words, it's easy to get complacent, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Anytime you're focused upon facts and manifestations rather than emotions, then you're really not paying attention to what matters. Then you're just regurgitating life. As you're just observing what is, you're regurgitating because you're just creating more of the same. And we say things are changing all the time, and people say, no, they're not. It's not changing in my life experience. It's different faces in different places, but it's the same old, same old, same old, same old. And we say that's because you're giving an inordinate amount of your attention to what already is and not enough listening to the new stuff that's coming. And you say, well, it's not fun to listen for the new stuff. It's too subtle. It's too subtle. I want big, bold stuff. And we say, it's true. Most humans would rather feel negative emotion than no emotion because you think you're getting stuff done. It feels more powerful to feel something, you see. But once you begin to discover the power of alignment, which is subtle and then grows into more and more and more and more until it becomes passion, then...
So along the lines of expectation, I kind of want to, not a quiz, but I've heard you refer to it as like fine tuning. I want to know that the expectations that I have are serving me.
Oh,
so if you could ask me questions to see where I am like vibrationally with the process of creation and my participation in that process.
We understand what you're getting at and why you think it's a good idea even though it isn't. So what kinds of questions might we ask you? What do you think we might ask you?
I want to know if, I don't know what kind of question I would want you to ask me. I just want to know that I know, you know, and I know that the knowing will grow.
Right,
I know that. I know that.
All right. So
expand.
we'll ask you some questions, and in some cases they'll be yes or no. In some cases they'll be multiple choice, and in some places we'd like a summary from you. So.
Will you tell me? If it's yes, no, multiple choice summary.
So it will be obvious.
Okay.
do you have a reason for being here in this physical body?
Yes.
Is it to make the world a better place, A? Is it to fix things you've got broken in past lives or this life? Or is it for the fun of being here?
C, for the fun of being here.
Very good.
Thank you.
Are you a vibrational extension of source energy or of the devil?
Source energy.
Since you're an extension of source energy, is it possible for you to tell when you are in vibrational harmony with that broader part of you? We would like a summary from you about that.
Yes, it is possible for me to tell when I'm in vibrational harmony with source energy, and I do that, or I can do that, by the way I feel. When I'm feeling negative emotion, I do realize that I'm not in sync with what source is thinking, what source is observing, the truth of what source knows about life and me.
Perfectly stated. Is it important for you to justify your desires, or is launching a desire all that is necessary for bringing it about?
Launching the desire is all that's necessary. Yeah.
When a desire is in the process of becoming, what is often your personal experience when that is happening? We'd like a summary, please.
When it's becoming,
When something that you want
contrast, I'm uncomfortable most of the time. Well, no, all of the time. Whenever a desire is emanating from me, when that rocket is shooting from me, it is happening as a result of life and things that I'm experiencing that I'm not preferring.
And is that discomfort sometimes known as a problem?
Yes, sometimes.
So as the solution is happening, the problem is too.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible for you to start enjoying the making of a problem because of your understanding that at the same time you're making a solution?
I would like to think that I am starting to. There was something that was said today, and I thought, well, whenever I get in that place where I'm very uncomfortable and I'm thinking about what is uncomfortable, and I'm thinking about what I'm wanting, and I'm thinking about it not being there, and I get that momentum going, I have been able, and I am able to bridge it. I've heard
the reason that we ask this important question to you right here and now is that when we ask that question just now, you all know the answer. You know that if a problem has created a solution, that you have access to a solution. But you don't know that when you're in the problem.
No.
Because you don't have access to the solution when you're in the problem. So that was a very trick question. That was a trick question. And the correct answer should have been, we're playing with you, that when I'm in the receptive mode, I know that. But when I'm not in the receptive mode, I don't know that. And that's the difference between our human physical friends who are really enjoying the evolution of their life and those who aren't. Because when you have a problem and you're aware of the problem, if you don't know that there's a solution brewing, well, the reason that you know that when there's a problem that there's a solution brewing is because you've sat in on gatherings like this where you've been in the receptive mode when we've said that. And so you've felt the truth and the resonance of that, you see. So intellectually you know it, where sometimes even Esther will be poking around in some problem, and people who know her are wondering, why aren't you more solution oriented right now? Because even Esther forgets that. When she's in this mode, she couldn't possibly forget it. When she's tuned in, tapped in, turned on to infinite intelligence, she doesn't forget it. But your state of mind is the reason that you know what you know when you know it. And so the quiz that we're playing with here, of course, when you get all tuned in, tapped in, turned on, there isn't anything that anybody could ask you that you couldn't find a very powerful and well-reasoned and well-spoken answer to. But when you are disconnected from that, then there's not a question simple enough that you could give an accurate answer to it. Because it's not about intellect, and it's not about gathering intelligence, and it's not even about logic. It's about this intuitiveness that comes from connection. Jerry and Esther, when they first moved from Arizona, where they met us, to Texas, they went to a feed store one day and got a box of little chicks who were born in an incubator. And so they didn't know their daddy rooster, and they didn't know their mother hen. In other words, Jerry and Esther just brought them home and began observing them. And one of the things that was so notable right away was how much they instinctively knew. And over time, as they observed these little birds, it was really a wonderful experience for Jerry and Esther. For example, eventually they had several generations of chickens, and the new little rooster, when a butterfly would fly over, would go "Rrr, rrr," warning all the other little hens. "Rrr, rrr." And Jerry was so excited when he saw that, because he was behaving just like the big rooster did when a hawk flew over. No one taught him what to do when a hawk flies over. He just knew. One day, little black Henny Penny, Esther's favorite little astrolorp from England, black hen, Big Bird, her rooster, herded her behind the air conditioner and waited for her until she laid her egg. And Esther thought, "You're getting pretty pushy there, Big Bird." And then the next day, Big Bird herded Henny Penny over behind the air conditioner again, and Henny Penny laid another egg. And she laid a significant pile of eggs. And then one day, she laid her egg and tried to leave, and Big Bird stood there and would not let her leave. She wanted to leave. He herded her back. She wanted to leave. He herded her back. She wanted to leave. He herded her back. And in time, took about 7 or 8 minutes, she sat down. She sat on those eggs for 21 days. And Big Bird brought her a grasshopper and a beetle and a little piece of this and a little piece of that and a little piece of that and a little piece of that and a little piece of that. And then on the 21st day, little eggs began to pop, and little feet began to come out of the eggs, and there were 7 chicks out of this pile of eggs. So the little chicks right away were on their feet. They didn't have feathers. They looked like they had fuzz or fur. And the mother bird stayed very close to them, and they stayed very close to her. And on the 2nd or 3rd day, Esther observes her in the chicken yard, and she is scratching, and the little chicks rushed in and ate. And she would dig some more up, and the little chicks would run in and eat. And they learned quickly to stay out of the way of her feet. They stayed back. She dug things up, they would come and eat. She'd dig things up, they would come and eat. She'd dig things up, and they would come and eat. And then one day, she dug some things up, they came to eat, and she pecked them on the head. And Esther said, "Don't be mean to your babies, Henny Penny." Another one came to try to eat. She pecked it on the head. "It's time for you to dig up your own things," she's saying to them. "It's time for you to dig up your own things." And Esther is saying, how does she know that? She did not have a mother. She came out of an incubator. No mother dug anything up for her. How does she know this? And Jerry said, "It's instinct." And we said, "It's connection." It's connection with broader knowing. What humans want to assign to the animals and call instinct is their natural alignment with who they really are. There's not a storage cabinet. It's not stored in their DNA. It's real-time communication from the inner being of the little chick who is out here on the leading edge with the little chick. Are you following us? You are not puppets on a string. You are co-creators. And there is knowledge of how things work that is deep in the DNA, if you want to call it that, of your inner being.